Hello everybody, it's Janet with Fruit of the Vine Art Studio here, and it's Wednesday, and it's 8 o'clock, and we're going to start tonight by doing a couple of quick Mod Podge projects. I've got two different ones that I'm going to show you. One is going to be putting a photo onto a rock, and then the other one is going to be something that I call a hymnal rock, which is basically a hymn that's printed on paper, and then I'm going to put that on a rock with a couple of other elements that I found. Basically they're flowers that I cut out from magazines, and I have a cross that I cut out, and I'm going to put that on top of it. First we're going to start with the photo on the rock, and let me move this out of the way over here, and I'll show you what we're going to do. I have this white rock here. It's just a regular rock from the river, and I painted it white. And I have a picture that I've printed out, and it's my brother, and it's one of his dogs. He has 3 dogs. This dog is Little Bit, and I'm going to put this particular photo onto this rock. Now, this photo is it's taken from a photograph, and it's printed on plain paper. It's not photograph paper. It's plain, regular paper. And I just printed it out on my printer. So, I'm going to show you pretty quickly how to do that, and then after we do that, then we're going to create the hymnal rock. And the hymnal rock, what I did was I printed out a hymn page that I found online under free hymns that you could use. I printed out this hymn of the old rugged cross, and I printed that just on regular paper also. It's just regular paper. And then, before we got started here, I took that same thing, and I took a lighter, and I singed around the edges of that piece of paper that I printed the old rugged cross on, so that it now looks like this. I literally just lit it with the lighter, blew it out as quick as I lit it, immediately, lit it, blew it out, and then after I had singed one side, I would take my finger and just tap against it, and you'll see that little pieces are still coming off, but I would tap against it until I could get most of the burnt portion off, so that it left this nice edging on here. So we're going to put that on a rock, and we're also going to put the photograph of my brother on a rock. So I'm going to get started with you guys here. We're going to get our Mod Podge, and we're going to get it and shake it up. We know we love our Mod Podge. We use bunches of it. And once again, the only thing we really need to do this project is this sponge brush, this Mod Podge, a rock that's painted white, and these particular things that I've printed out using my printer. Okay, so I'm gonna flip you guys around here and get you situated to where you can see. Let me find my button again. There we go. Nope, there it is. Okay, now, let me get you set up over here on my little stand that I've got set up in the corner. And we'll light this up. There we go. And then here's our rock. And here's the photograph that we're going to place on the rock. Let me adjust my light just a little bit there. Okay. So, once again, we're going to start with a nice layer of the Mod Podge on our rock. And you're just putting a nice layer, kind of not terribly thick, but you need it to be enough on there to where it's going to stick real well. And you want to get it on all the sides of it. And then just like before, we're going to take our photograph and we're going to place it over top of where we want it to be on the rock. Pretty simply right there. Now, take our fingers and smooth it down onto the rock. Now you see, unlike the napkin, it doesn't fold down quite as easy on the edges as the napkin did. Now I'm going to trim this a little bit right there. I'm going to press down as much as I can onto the wet Mod Podge. Pressing the rock down using my fingers, and you can be a little more aggressive with your rock. Now make sure you've got your paper towel handy so that you can wipe off whatever gets on you. You can be a little more aggressive with the rock, with this pitcher, than you could with the napkin when we did the napkin rock. You could not rub on the napkin like this, or your napkin would definitely tear up. But this is just regular paper, so we can be a little more aggressive as far as pushing it down onto the rock. Now I'm just taking my finger, you can see that made a wrinkle. I'm just taking my fingers and I'm pressing into the wrinkles right there, pressing it down right in here. And I think I'm just going to use my scissors right here. Trim a little bit of that off. That's just excess. That make that easier to press this down right here. Now, the next thing we're going to do after we've got it nice and pressed onto our rock is we are literally going to take our Mod Podge and we're going to put it over the top of this pitcher. Now I need to get a little bit more on this right here, so I'm going to flip that up. Let's get some more right there. Press this down. Okay. Get my little wrinkle out of there. Alright. I think that's looking pretty good right there. That pitcher is stuck on that rock pretty well. Now we're going to take the Mod Podge and we're going to put a layer right on the top of the rock, just like this. Doesn't have to be a thick layer, just a nice layer right on the top of it. I'm going to make sure you get it around the edges real good. So I put a little bit extra out through there. Get that on there. Smooth it across again so it doesn't have that bumpy look on the edge. There we go. And basically, we are done with this project for the moment. We're going to let that dry. And as you see little bubbles or little wrinkles pop up, you can just take your fingers and press them down right along the edges here, just like that. There we go. Now we've got that placed on there. I'm going to move this off to the side and I'm going to let that dry. That's how you can see it's got some bubble coming right there. So I'm going to use my brush and try to press it down a little bit. But actually, it's not going to hurt it any way you look at it. Some people use credit cards, and they will take a credit card and press down on it. You can do that too. But that's going to be just fine. That's going to hold on to that piece of that rock. That pitcher's going to be adhered to that rock perfectly well. And I'm going to give that to my brother after that dries. We're going to let that go for the moment now, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on our Hymnal Rock. Once again, I just took a piece of paper like this, printed a hymn that was on Google, burnt it around the edges. I cut out some flowers from a magazine. You can see the back of the magazine parts on there. Just some little flowers that I found in a magazine. This little flower up here at the top. Here's the hem that I printed out, cinched around the edges, and then I printed out this little cross that I'm going to place on the top of it. Okay, so I'm just going to slide these little elements off to the side right here for the moment. And I'm going to put some Mod Podge on here. Now, as you see, I'm just going to start down here at the corner. And work my way up. I'm going to put quite a bit on here. You want a nice layer of it. You don't want to have any spots where there isn't any, and it causes the paper to rise up. So make sure you got a nice layer. On there, and then your little spot. Alright. Now, the first thing I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to lay this right here. A little closer to this edge. A little further up right here. And then I've got this pretty little flower, and I'm going to slide it right underneath and press it down. Gotta watch that burnt edge now. It'll make it. You don't want to press too hard on that burnt edge right away, because that'll break off little pieces of it. And then we're going to put this flower right here behind this part of the burnt edge. And we're going to put this flower down here. Press that down a little bit. There we go. Now, I want my rugged cross to be down in here, so I'm going to press him down in there. Now you can see I'm going to have to put more. So we're going to get a little more Mod Podge now, and we're going to lift up this side of the flower, and we're going to put it right on top of that cross, and right on top of that flower. And we're going to press this down, and then I'm going to take this little flower that I picked, that I cut out, and I'm going to put him right here on that part of it. Okay, and now we're gonna press this down like we do with the other ones. We're probably gonna have to lift up in some spots. We're gonna press this down as good as we can, because that's Mod Podge is still wet underneath there. So we're pressing that down. Now we need to put it on the top here, but underneath there. So we're gonna put that right there, just like this. There we go. And I'm going to bring that right up here. Now we can see that it's trying to wrinkle, but that's all right. We're going to use our finger, and we're going to smooth that down, just like that. Right over here on the edge. Okay. Now, peel that corner up. Put some more right in here. I'm going to put it on the top of this right here. A nice layer. When I get that edge, try to get those little black spots off. Just take your brush and kind of put it off to the side. Knock the little black spots off of it from where that's singed. I wasn't sure how that would actually work. This is actually an experiment, and you guys are watching me do this experiment at the same time. I wasn't sure if the singed edge would make a big mess or not, so we're checking it out together here tonight. And you can see it's got little pieces that are breaking off, but I'm just scooting those off with my brush as we go along here. Let's see, I'm going to get that off right there, and oh, I might not be getting that little piece off right there. He looks like he might want to stay. I'm not going to fight too much with him. I don't want to fight with him. I'm not here to fight tonight, that's for sure. I'm going to scooch some up right in underneath here, because you can see that's lifted up. So we're just going to kind of lift a little underneath it and scoot some in there. Okay. Going to bring it right down on top of it. Get some underneath this corner right here and this little edge. Right up here. And just press them down. There we go. Oop, I can see it's getting right in the middle of it there. Let's see if we can't work that out of there. Yeah, Let me wipe that off. There we go. Get that off of there. There's another piece of it. I needed another little flower to go on this side over here, didn't I? That's okay. We'll work that out. Now, we're getting it all on the top of it here. And we got ourselves a wrinkle working right in here, so I'm just gonna take my fingers and press into the wrinkle. It's gonna make it a little hard to read the verse there, but that's okay. It's still sticking to the rock, and that's the whole idea. Is that we got a big glob of the stuff over here on the edge. Let me get that off of there. There we go. And now, we're going to give that a couple of minutes to dry too. And we'll see how that looks when it gets done. We're going to smooth this down right here. Work on that wrinkle. You can see it's got some wrinkles a little bit underneath it. It's I maybe should have put another layer under there, but actually it's going to stick to this rock. It's not going to have a problem being on this rock. It's not going to come loose. And after I get it sprayed with some clear coat, it's definitely not going to be coming loose off of this rock. So, well, right now we can see this one's almost done. We're going to wait on this to dry at this point, and it will be a finished rock. But now let's move this over here for the moment. And while we talked and did that one little project, this one of my brother and his dog, little bit, has completely dried. You can see that although that looked like an air bubble, it is not an air bubble. It's actually the shape of this rock underneath here. This is on this rock completely. It's not coming off of here. All I have left to do now is to spray it with Krylon, and it's sealed and ready to go outside. I might put another coat of Mod Podge on it. I will put another coat of Mod Podge on it. I will. Just to go around the edges a little bit more, but they're not peeling up. They are on there. Look at that. They are, can you see how they are? They are stuck right on there. They're not peeling up. So, but I'm going to put one more layer on it now that it's good and dry. And then this one will be dry in just a little bit. You got to get that right there under that edge. Get that under that edge right there. And once this dries, it's going to be a beautiful hymnal rock that we can put out in the garden. I can spray that with some Krylon, and it's going to be a lovely addition to my yard. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little project that we did here, the hymnal rock, and putting a photograph onto a rock with Mod Podge. It's just a little bit more of our fast and fun Mod Podge projects. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that I'll see you again. Shelly, I see that you're out there. Thank you so much for joining me. Stephanie, thank you too. Hey, Steve, thank you. I'm so glad you guys are here. I hope you enjoyed this. You got any questions? Just drop me a question in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I get off of here. All right? Thanks a lot, guys. Bye. There we go. Wait a minute. Somehow that messed